Well, speaking of healthcare, J&J is on your radar today for the best stocks in the market. Josh?
Yes, I almost said with Jardiance, it's easy to say I'm lowering my A1C, but I didn't want to get CNBC in trouble. I don't know if they're a sponsor. All right, J&J. Okay, this is a great setup for me to explain a really important concept that transcends the J&J story. What's happening with the stock, and we're showing you a very long-term chart here, is what the technicians refer to as building a base. The general idea is that if and when a stock breaks out from a typical range that it's been stuck in this case, like 5 years, the move could be extraordinary if it had been trapped in that range for a really long time. So there's an old adage on Wall Street, the bigger the base, the higher in space. So this is a big base. And J&J, the company, is in the midst of a massive transition that's been underway for years under a relatively new CEO. And they have a couple of key goals, and they are executing on those goals. They wanted to become a pure-play healthcare company, so they spun off Kenvue, which was very well received on Wall Street. I know Stephanie's made a lot of money in that stock. And they are fully focused on innovative medicines, which is oncology, immunology, neuroscience, and medtech, so surgical robots, cardiovascular devices, orthopedics. And that's what the business now is. I think taking a step back from gigantic M&A and the types of deals that distract management and really just doing fill-in deals where it makes sense, like this strategy is now being rewarded on Wall Street with the stock price working. In July, they issued guidance for the rest of the year and had a lot of great news to share, a lot of milestones. The next earnings report is not until October 14th. I think the stock bides its time just under those old highs until we get that October 14th report, and that could be the big catalyst. Healthcare has been terrible this year. I'll just end by saying the sector is up only 1.3% year to date, trailing everything. But there are some really big winners in the sector. We've talked about a bunch of them in my best stock segment. J&J has been sideways since the end of 2022. But not only is the stock price on the verge of a multi-year breakout, the fundamentals are as well. They just raised full-year earnings per share guidance to $10.85 a share. That would be 8.7% growth for this year versus last year. And so when you have a technical setup like this with improving fundamentals and a stock that's really been forgotten about for a long time, I love these setups. I'm not long the name yet, but that could change. This is exactly the type of situation that historically I've done okay with. So that's the J&J story today.
Jim, what do you make of either this trade or your own healthcare ownership with AbbVie, AstraZeneca, Vertex Pharma, and any reaction to the FDA letters that Angelica brought us?
Well, look, FDA letters come out all the time. I mean, this is a highly regulated industry, so I don't really look at that and get scared or enthused one way or the other. But I think, you know, the point that Josh was making about healthcare has been a terrible sector is absolutely true, and it's been driven by two names in particular that are the biggest names in the space, right? United Healthcare and Eli Lilly. I do think, and Josh is making this point, that you could pick your stocks. So AbbVie is one that I've owned that's had a very good year. AstraZeneca is another one that I own that's had a very good year. Vertex I've owned, and it's been flat this year. I think, though, it has a very good long-term potential. My point being is that pick your subsectors within the industry. Obviously, as you can tell from those names, I like pharma and biopharma. That's where I'm staying. I think managed healthcare is a little tricky still with government reimbursements being questioned, but pick your spots and pick your stocks.
All right, that's why you watch the show, right? Pick
exactly.
Your spots, pick your stocks. Well, looking ahead to a special event, you can join Josh as he reveals his best stocks for 2026 at the next CNBC Pro Live. That's happening on January 15th at the New York Stock Exchange. Scan the QR code on the screen right here and visit cnbcevents.com/pro live for more info.